What's up, Box family? My name is Terri Thomas, Operations Manager here in Houston for Radio 1, which is 97.9 The Box, Magic 102.1, 92.1 Radio Now, and also 102.1 HD2, which is our gospel inspirational station, Praise Houston. And if you are here today for Who Got Next, the leaderboard, powered by our sponsor, Remy Martin. And this is a wonderful opportunity for up-and-coming artists to get some real-time feedback about their songs. And I'll explain a little bit more about the platform in just a moment. But I would love to welcome our esteemed panel of guests today. We'll be talking about some of the top music that's happening on the Who Got Next platform right now. First up, my very good friend coming all the way from Houston, Texas, and also over at Columbia Records. I want to welcome Azim Rashid, my good friend, to the team.
Good afternoon, TT. Good to see you. What's up? Who got next?
Great to be seen. All right, next up, he's a frequent flyer here. We can't miss him. He, of course, is one of our wonderful executives with Atlantic Records, but like he always says, he reps himself. So let's welcome to the panel today, Mr. LaRonn Harris.
Hey, thanks for having me back. I feel like I've been home in a minute.
Wouldn't be the same without you. And then, working on a special guest that'll pop in as soon as the link gets working for him as well from the team. But we don't want to stop progress because we know we've got some people that linked in today trying to, see what's going on in the world of independent artists and up-and-coming music. So a little bit about Who Got Next. This is a platform that we put together with our partner. And really what it's designed to do is to provide independent artists an opportunity to get real-time feedback on your project. And it's real easy to do so. All you need to do is go to theboxhouston.com and look for Who Got Next. Click on that link and it'll explain all the details. The cool thing about it is, although today we've got some executives from the music business, some real professionals in the game to give you some real-time feedback, one of the cool things about the platform is that there's a large group of music fans. We call them curators. A lot of them will be checking into the show today. So a large group of curators that just love to listen and discover new music. So you get real-time feedback from potential fans of your project. And what we find is a lot of times information from fans can help you and direct you in terms of elevating your project and help vote you top of the leaderboard. So with that, we do have an incentive running for the leaderboard for the month of March, where we've got $2,500 up for grabs for the artist that gets voted to the top of the leaderboard, and also a interview on Instagram Live with one of our executives. So that's going to be a pretty great opportunity for somebody. And really think about this. You're getting access that other people just don't have, okay? A lot of people try to get to the record company. And it's almost like, we take them and we hide them off somewhere. You don't know where the record company is. You can't get to the executives. Well, this is a chance for you to get front and center with an executive. So, and also $2,500 to help further your career. We also encourage people to get involved. If you're a music fan, it's absolutely free for you to sign up and become a curator of the platform. And there's incentives for you as well. You just get in there and you listen to new music and you just really give your honest opinion. It's just that simple. So today, speaking of opinion, let's go ahead and kick things off. I'm going to play DJ. And we're going to have our first track today. It's by RICARDO, AREVALO, and the song is called No Love.
She don't want no love, she loves diamonds and new clothes. Oh no, what the money digging hole. The way she begs got me back against the ropes. And I'll never know when to let this bitch go. She don't want no love, she loves diamonds and new clothes. Oh no, what the money digging hole. The way she begs got me back against the ropes. And I'll never know when to let this bitch go. Of course she's back and she's with it. Little mama love it when I'm spending. She said she loves, she pretending. She said she loves me, she's pretending. She's trying to take me, no shame in asking for the pain. She's trying to break me cause she don't want that love to stay. No, you won't pay me, yeah, I know of your evil ways. No, you won't pay me cause I've already left that place. She don't want no love, she loves diamonds and new clothes. Oh no, what a money digging hole. The way she begs got me back against the ropes, and I'll never know when to let this bitch go.
All right, we have our first track from Who Got Next, the leaderboard. It's RICARDO or Velo, and the song is called No Love. LaRonn, what you got for us?
You would say me right after you say no love.
You know what? We love the transparency. We love the honesty. And you know what? It doesn't help anybody if we don't keep it real. That's why we got the panel we got. So yes, my friend, you are first up.
All right. It was just okay at best. Looking at the competitive landscape and the current bandwidth of mainstream radio, I didn't see that song, or I didn't hear that record as competitive when I look at the top 20 records on your playlist. So, you know, I would say it was just okay, but that's it. It was just okay.
All right. What about you, Azim?
Yeah, LaRonn and I share that key word, competitive, because you never know a hit until it actually happens. You know what you feel and what you think, but until it actually hits the airwaves or hits the consumers, we don't know what a hit is. But that one didn't strike me as very competitive.
Yeah, I think what struck me at first is I think, you know, one of the things that people are looking for in music right now is some level of authenticity. And I think sometimes, you know, of course, I was first struck with mixing and mastering. We talk about that on the platform all the time. It sounded real muddy. But I think that, you know, some of the effects that you put on your voice can either enhance or take away. And I think sometimes, in some cases, over affecting the voice can really take away from the impact of what you're trying to say. And so, you know, I would have liked to hear something, you know, maybe a little less produced, but better mixed and mastered. We got some comment here from Ryan on Facebook. Says, I want to hear something original. It sounds like everything else that's out right now. And I think that is, you know, an excellent point. Also want to remind people, our curators that are watching the feed, you know, definitely want to hear your comments about the music. If you've got questions, you want to ask those as well. It's just an awesome platform for you to participate. And then also just encouraging curators in general. You know, we do have a cash incentive, $100 for the person who curates the most, and a chance to co-host the leaderboard live on video with us. So definitely encourage you to get involved there. So, all right, well, I think we do have our special guest ready to come in. I think we got GT Mayne from 97.9 The Box and Magic 102.1. GT.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. These,
all right.
Like grandma would say, these the internets are giving us trouble today.
Man.
So yeah, happy to have you though here once again on the leaderboard. So we're just going to pick up where we left off and go ahead and hit the number 2 track. We got King Kello, and the song is called Dead End.
Out here leaving hell, being locked in jail. Struggled all my life trying to make it spell, not knowing who my friends are, who would tell. Will I go to heaven on the time reveal? Fighting with the devil in the battlefield. Goddamn, this rage, I'ma keep it real. Crooked thoughts about making meals. 6 4 bottles in the group of bills. Windows up while we smoke and kill. Chin with the bang with the woman in grill. Rip the grain, tell me how does it feel? Land of the G's with a fake get killed. Better be a soldier, better pay than steal. Look at the days, look at the smoke, look at the guns, look at the dope. We live in the hell, act like you know. Welcome to the radio, you can't get out. You walk in hell now and go ride. No one can save you or hear you cry. Your life's slowly fading and no one knows why. You scream, but nobody can hear you. See the flames burning underneath you.
All right, that was King Kello. The song is called Dead End, as we team up for excellence today with our sponsor, Remy Martin. Who got next? The leaderboard. GT Mayne, what you got on King Kello?
Reminds me of
Gathering your thoughts, okay?
Bone Thugs Harmony. Yeah. Yeah, that's the vibe I got with some Bone Thugs and Harmony without the nice melodic flow. I personally don't hear what I'm speaking from a DJ standpoint right now. I don't hear what I would like. What would I mix that with right now? I don't know. I'm thinking. I don't know.
So as a DJ, what do you look for when you're, like, not all records make it to the radio, right? There's music out, plenty of music out here. You might be a big hit for the club. You could be a big hit on streaming. You could be a big hit on TikTok. Everything is not always for the radio. So as a DJ, what do you look for in a song?
I'm normally looking for something like, there's different elements. Sometimes you're looking for a record that's gonna move the crowd per se, and then sometimes you're just looking for a good record to vibe to. And I'm trying to figure out which category that was fit that particular record fit in. It's not grabbing me off the top, so I can't really say. Because sometimes I'm just looking for some good lyrics. Me, if I'm a ride to it, and then like I said, as a DJ, sometimes I'm looking for a dope beat that people are gonna vibe to. I know this can go with this set, it can go with that, but I'm still looking for the category on that record. So maybe once I listen to y'all's output, it may catch on or something.
All right, Azim.
One, I'm gonna let you off the hook, GT. I hear what you're saying about the vibe versus a club play. I'm gonna start with positive, and I couldn't hear all of it, but it started off like he was trying to have a positive message. Which, as you know, there's a lot of music out here with positive lyrics. I want to definitely commend them for trying to give a different message. However, I just don't think it comes across on this track. But properly mixed, properly mastered, maybe even something done production-wise to enhance it, I could definitely see it as a vibe track. But again, I don't think it's competitive enough for this competition or to go definitely not to go on radio. But I do like the fact that he was trying to give us a bit of a message.
All right, LaRonn.
Good job with the positivity, Azim. But these first two records, they living up to the titles. It's all in the name. This record sound extremely dated. As GT alluded to, Bone Thugs and Harmony, like just without the harmony. He kind of reminded me of like the early Master P with his voice, the Ice Cream Man version of Master P, without beats by the pound. I don't think that this record was well produced at all. He definitely get a for effort. Attempting to come with a different narrative, but coming with a different narrative won't work if the record is not good. You know what I mean? Like the record still has to be competitive. You know what I mean? Like the beat, the production, it wasn't competing with what's working right now. I'm not saying that they gotta remake Lil Baby's production or Drake's production, but I gotta go back to the competitive word. It gotta provide a vibe, a soundtrack, or something that's going to be memorable. And I just, like GT stated, I don't see where that record would live in the nightclub or a lounge or radio. I just don't know where that record will live.
Okay. Ryan from Facebook, no, the beat threw me off all the way. I want that classic feel, take me back to classic Houston. I mean, that's certainly a lane. Let me bring up, that's a good point about classic, and I do appreciate that the word dated has come up. So there's a big record that dropped, about a week ago. LaRonn, this is on your label, I think, right? Silk Sonic, right? So Bruno Mars, Anderson .Paak team up to put together a project. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to call no names of my compadres, but I was there on the first listen with a group of radio executives, and some were in, some were not. But for me, the thing that was appealing was that, I think what Bruno and Anderson did extremely well on this particular project is they did kind of reach back for a nostalgic sound, but also they in some kind of way, they put a modern twist on it. And so it sounds, it gives you that old school feel, but it also has something that brings it to me into what could also work currently. So of course, older people, I think, because I put it right into rotation on Magic 102.1, which is our 2554. You're welcome, sir. 2554 is our adult is our target demo there. And I knew that the older part of the demo, because there's a familiarity of that old school vibe, would definitely appreciate that. But I also feel that the younger part of the demo would just appreciate sort of the twist and the freshness they put on it. So my question to the panel is this. I think sometimes you can go back and be inspired by an old sound and make it current again. Another example of that would be Childish Gambino with Redbone. To me, that sounded very classic, but he was able to still bring a song that had a classic feel into a modern time. What do you think the best recipe for success is when someone's trying to do that as an artist? Azim, I'll hit you first because I know it's LaRonn's record on the Bruno. We'll let him speak next.
Taking the ball the damn airplay. No, listen, I think the nostalgia has its place. It's all about musicality for me. Again, being an artist and being a musician, it just has to feel right. And literally, because LaRonn and our friends and people at his company I'm friends with as well, and even my company, when that record came out at midnight, I was up listening to it, waiting for it because they teased it so well. So the marketing was amazing. Anyway, yeah. Past that. But I just wanted to hear the song first. And I said that Bruno has changed the game by bringing back real music. So I think that when you're going for nostalgia, obviously it needs to feel good to you. Secondly, though, it needs to have, it needs to have that thing. And again, you only know it when you hear it. But to your point, they masterfully did it in a way that my 12-year-old likes the record and my 70-year-old mother likes the record. So when you can do all that, you've truly done your job. Obviously, Bruno plays at a higher level, and Anderson as well. Don't want to leave him out. But I think that it's really just about a feeling. Like you can go, like I've worked records where they try to go really, really old Al Green or really, really old, like LTD, like those 70s funk kind of stuff that don't really work. So you do have to kind of bring some nuances of modern music and sounds, I guess would be the best way to put it. In order for it to work, in my opinion.
All right, so LaRonn, it's your record. What's your thought on it?
It works because it's a phenomenal record. Like they masterfully executed that record. And music is all about feeling. So the word that we use or the adjective that we use for the Dead End record was that it sound dated. The adjective that we use for the Silk Sonic record was nostalgic, with a modern twist. Two very different words. You know what I mean? Dated is not a good adjective. That's not a positive adjective. Nostalgic is very much so a positive word when you're describing a record. You can have something that pays homage to the past, but it just has to make you feel a certain type of way. I think everybody was able to look past the Childish Gambino record, having an old feeling because it was a phenomenal record and it just made you feel good when you heard it. This record did not accomplish that. It didn't make me feel anything. And that's the difference between, reaching back to a feeling and a sound and just doing something that's just out of date.
Right.
Because good music is timeless. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter when it was created. We can go through our grandparents' old crates and we'll find music that feels like fresh air to the lungs. So it's not about when the music was created. It's about how that music makes you feel when you listen to it.
GT, to you, I mean, you're an artist. You're a DJ playing a few different arenas from Caribbean music to magic to box. So you kind of, you're definitely well-rounded. What to you it encompasses a record that you feel is timeless? What are some of the qualities of a timeless record?
A timeless record to me transcends generations. Like if I can sit in a car and my mother liked the record, I like the record, my son likes the record, that to me makes it timeless. As far as it being a classic, I'll give you a prime example of a classic record that I didn't think could be redone, that was just recently remade last year and was great again, and that's Maze Before I Let Go. you know, that's a classic record that Beyonce in her own way updated it and made it a classic again. So it's like, to me, that's what, you know, so timeless classic, what the other word, outdated to me. So she put her modern twist on a classic record, and it transcended more generations now, you know, and it made younger people go back and appreciate the original more now because DJs are mixing both records, you know. So
Yeah, I think that's a great point. All right, team, let's go ahead and tee up the third song here. This is by SHAR LERATO. It's called Everything Lovely.
This nigga ain't no pit stop, ain't got hit the jackpot. X's on my line, ain't fucking with them crap pots. So I let them back shots, gotta make that gun pop. Loving on me non-stop, when I'm by a long shot. It's more than just an instant doing, just another magnitude. Can never get a mess, cause you know need to give a attitude. I keep the cat in solitude, say baby girl, I'm proud of you. Know that's just what the deal. You fucking come down to break the rules. Don't gotta ask, baby, blow the back. To me, the Molokai just to blow it back. Such an amazing man, I can't help but brag. It's my father best fucking man, these bitches never had. Everything about it feel real, saying it's a big deal. You know this got carpet still, you know that's that real deal. This the one to kill for me, saying this a real hubby. Keep the kitty real bubbly, everything real love, everything lovely. Bank account lovely, body looking lovely. Yeah, my man really loves me, so no I can complain. Love everything lovely, everything lovely. Bank account lovely, body looking lovely. Yeah, my man really loves me, so no I can complain. Love everything lovely.
All right, SHAR LERATO, Everything Lovely. Azim.
I would give this one a 6.9, almost a 7. I think it's competitive. She got me with the tempo. She can definitely rap. I would think a visual will probably sell me on this song a lot better. Because again, production-wise, it just feels like it's not mixed and mastered. So I want to see it, and definitely I want to hear it in the club element. I really want to hear it in my car. But I'd give it a competitive 7.
All right, LaRonn.
This has been the best record so far out of the records that we've played today. I thought the hook was memorable. That worked in her favor. I thought the beat was cool. Good tempo for the record, you know, for mix show and for clubs and lounges and for day parties and things of that nature. And she had a nice flow. So this was a cool record. Was it a smash? That would be an overstatement, but I thought it was cool.
All right. What about you, GT? SHAR LERATO, Everything Lovely.
I heard, as soon as I heard it, I heard elements of, you know, what I would be looking for. Like it goes with the City Girls, Doja Cat, you know, Saweetie, Best Friends vibe. So it has the tempo. She can rap. I can hear it in the clubs. I can hear it in the mix show. So, you know, those are, from a DJ standpoint, those are the elements that I'm looking for personally. You know, like what can I throw? What goes with this? What can I mix this with? You know, and I'm saying that don't be outside the box because I'm a great mixer. I'm gonna find something. But you know, when I can automatically off the top know that okay, this goes this, that, and that's a plus.
All right, that's good to know. Ryan says, I could feel this being played on the radio in the club. She reminds me of Honey Cocaine. Also, Corey Bear was on, and he mentioned those Detroit style beats. They're, you know, hot, so hot right now. So feel that energy. I would say this. I actually was feeling her verses. Like, I liked the hook. I didn't like the production on the hook. I thought it sounded thin a little when it got to the hook, but I liked what she was saying. If I was producing her, I would say, give me some more attitude on the hook, because I really want to feel Everything Lovely, but I like where the record is going. I think it has potential. I would probably, one of my words, I would rejudge a few things on it. And to Azim's point, a visual could go a long way here. I think we are in such a visual world right now. I think it is essential when you're putting music out to get creative and put some sort of visual, even if it's not, you know, everybody can't afford Michael Artist production, right? I get that. But there's also a lot of creative ways that you could put together something visually. And there's a lot of these websites out here, even on a lyric video, where you could outsource. You know, there's graphic designers that outsource all the time. And for what you wouldn't think it would cost, you could probably get an interesting lyric video and at least get something visual to go along, you know, with your song if you're not able to do a full out video at a particular time. I think that would certainly go a long way. You know, there's a lot of ladies that are making moves in music right now. What do you think? What do you think it's going to take for the next lady to really be that next big superstar? Because there's some scenes on some level we love the breakthroughs. First, it was the R&B wave that came in with LMA, and we had SZA and HER, and certainly we got the hip hop wave happening with, you know, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and Saweetie leading the pack. We got some great female artists here in Houston like Ken the Man, you know, doing some things, OMB Bloodbath. So a lot of ladies are really stepping into the forefront of the music scene. What do you think the industry in the world is looking for the next superstar lady? What's it going to take for the next lady to be really a superstar? What qualities do you think it'll take? Azim?
I mean, I think all the ladies you talked about now, you know, again, from Megan to Saweetie to, I mean, Cardi, obviously. And Cardi's probably the best example. It's about consistency. I think when you're trying to establish yourself in the marketplace to get the superstar status, you need consistency, you need quality content, and you need that quality content on a consistent basis, right? You want to know that my favorite artist is putting out a record every 3 months until you get to a point where they're satiated and they're like, okay, she's the one. I think that, you know, whoever's going to be next, they should take some style points from Cardi. They should take some style points from Megan. Take some style points from her. Like all those women, they stand in their own lane. They have a commonality of what it takes to be a star. They look good. They sound good. And, you know, even with a little bit of controversy, they're standing their own, right? And I think those are qualities that are kind of things that make you have to be battle tested to get there. But I think musically, it's just about a sound. But I think we have a good crop. We could obviously always use more, but I think that's a good crop. And whoever's coming behind them, they should be studying those ladies.
LaRonn, what's your thoughts on it?
I would agree with Azim on consistency, quality of content, but I'll take it a step further with relatability. They need to be relatable. And for the audience, I think the audience, if they are open, they need to openly show support for an artist that's willing to have a different conversation. Because I think the narrative is extremely one-sided currently and what's working on a mainstream format. I think that there's a lane wide open for a Lauryn Hill type act right now. You know what I mean? That can embody everything that all the, you know, artists that we mentioned in the conversation, that can embody pieces of that and bring out some soul. But the audience has to embrace it, and programmers have to be willing to give that artist the same opportunity for exposure that they give the current narrative.
Yeah, you know, I'm thinking of an artist now who hasn't hit the mainstream yet, but I've got an eye and an ear on her. Her name is Chika, and I like that she's a little bit different from the norm, and what she has to say is a little bit different from the current conversation. She can rap her butt off. I mean, she's strong there, but, you know, I'm always interested to see, you know, what these ladies are doing out here, and then always wanting to see which lady is really going to cut through. Who's going to be that next big superstar. I think we've got some great ladies here in the city that are very talented and optimistic that we can have another major superstar to add to our list right out of Houston. You know, you get Beyonce, you got Megan, there's more here as well. But always interested to know from the label side of things, because I've mentioned this before, you know, there was a time in radio where it was a no-no to let two female artists play back to back. Now, those are old rules, and I certainly don't play by those rules anymore. But, or I never did anyway. That's my boss's rules. But, you know, especially being a lady, I always thought the rule didn't make any sense. But, you know, I think the world is ready for more female superstars if you got the right talent. We got Caesar saying it's going to take the triple threat: rap, sing, dance, showmanship. GT, what do you think about that?
I agree with all the points that were made by LaRonn as well as Azim. And I was going to ask the question, but he just happened to bring it up. I was going to ask, can that next female be successful without all the sexual connotation? And he brought it up when he said Lauryn Hill. So, and that's kind of, I feel like what's missing right now with all the successful women out there. I feel like we're missing that Lauryn Hill, who ironically just went diamond with her album, you know, just recently. And I feel like that, like LaRonn said, that lane is wide open right now. You know, I feel like there's no like, I miss like Eve. And the reason I say Eve, not saying that Eve was the dopest or the best looking, but I liked her subject matter, you know. So I feel like as a woman, rap to women, talk to women, talk about, I mean, as dark as this may sound, talk about, you know, that abortion, or talk about, you know, that abuse or whatnot. And I feel like the first female that does that in a lyrical way and like he just said, has showmanship or whatnot, I feel like she's gonna win.
Yeah, they're going to have to be able to deliver hit records. Like, you know, they can be talented and all that, but you got to be able to deliver hit records. At the end of the day, we're in the music business to sell records. So, you know, if they're creating a great record that people can identify with, people are going to stream it, and companies will be more open to providing opportunities to those artists that can fill that lane.
All right,
But we all have a role to play in that, though. From the consumer to the programmers to the artists to the corporations, we all have a role to play in that.
I think that's a good point. All right, for everybody checking in on Facebook and YouTube, you're watching Who Got Next, the Leaderboard, powered by our sponsor, Remy Martin. As we team up for excellence, we're offering an opportunity for an independent artist from the Houston area to win $2,500 in the month of March, and also some one-on-one time with a music business executive to be able to have a Q&A and get some information you otherwise wouldn't be able to get. Also, opportunity for music curators, simply music fans. If you love music, you love to discover music, and you are willing to share your opinion, there's an opportunity for you to win $100, but a chance for you to end up front and center right here on one of our Leaderboard episodes as one of our guest panelists. So if you want more information on that, you can go to theboxhouston.com and just click Who Got Next, and it'll have all the details for you. All right, so let's go ahead and flip the script. We're going to bring up our last record of the day. This is Young Bryce, and it's called Going Hard.
Slap Cartel. Trying to take a back up on a dollar. I've been on my grind lately. Money's always on my mind lately. Told my girl that we'll be fine, baby. Go out there and get it. Put my feet on the pavement. Same way I walk on these stages. You know me, I'm out. Jumping on the block with the gangsters. A nigga want this chain, you gotta take it. Need a whole penny. This bitch reading 6 feet under. My knuckle game, I give a nigga faceless. We got it from the basement. That mean we came from the bottom. Shit, it was days we had to scratch for $1. Real talk, growing up. I ain't know my pops or my mama, so my mental used to be clouded with drama. Bitch, talk, it ain't a secret. I'm laid back, yeah, and I'm kinda easy, but it changes and I turn to an 8 when a nigga beat me. I got two babies at home feet, and they the reason that I'm still out here chasing the bag and I'm still breathing. Head first, but my gang, I don't walk for this. Bitch, I really go to war for this. Was on my knees, I was praying to the Lord for this. Real nigga first, they want a reward for this. Niggas be going hard for this. Cross my teeth, dot my eyes, we was going to this. Pray to the Lord, pray to my test.
All right, that's Young Bryce going hard with Young MARTEZ and J Mill. GT, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna be honest, I can barely hear it. So I was holding the phone up because I'm listening on my phone, and I couldn't hear the production, put it like that. I really couldn't hear it. Okay, all I could hear was the lyrics, which I didn't have a problem with, but I was trying to hear the production, and I'm not getting a clear.
Not getting a full experience. All right, let's appreciate the honesty. All right, LaRonn?
From what I could hear in my earbuds, I like the production. You know, I definitely like the cadence of the artist of Young Bryce. Definitely liked his voice. I thought it was more of an album cut than a radio cut or a club record. Um, yeah, I mean he went hard. I mean he lived up to the title of the record, going hard. I thought it was a hard album cut. You know what I mean, something to ride to.
Let me ask you, I appreciate that you're mentioning the word album cut. And in this day and age, we seem to be very single oriented, you know, putting out albums, you know, is that really the way to go these days? Or is it more of, you know, just trying to put out singles, you know, and just trying to go for the quote single? Like in your mind, what's the difference between a single and an album cut?
A single is a no-brainer record that you're taking an educated guess on that the masses are going to love and that they're going to stream it, download it, share it, and view it on YouTube. An album cut is more of a cool record, a vibe record, a thought-provoking record, but not necessarily a record that you're going to take to service to radio and put a big spin behind. You know, an album cut provides a little depth into the character of the artist, so you can get to know a little bit more about them as a person or artist, but it's not their calling card record. That's, you know, that would be the single.
Right.
And it depends on your business model. You know, when you ask, you know, which works. Like if you're trying to build your foundation and you got some things that you want to get out and you want to establish a relationship with your base to where your consumers get to know about you and your experience, then you may want to put out some albums. But, you know, the other business model is, you know, if you got this record that you know is gonna fly and this is what you got, you put your resources behind that and then you just keep building from that. It just depends on, you know, if you're playing the long game or the short game.
All right. Azim, what are your thoughts?
On the track specifically, I would go with LaRonn. I think it's definitely an album cut. It feels like a Houston record, but I think it's definitely an album cut. As far as the processing, LaRonn explained it best in terms of what an album cut is versus a single. I would just say philosophically, I would discourage artists from putting out albums versus putting out singles, because putting out a single gives people to get to know you one at a time. Now, the frequency in which you put music out should be, I think that's the cadence you want to worry about. You know, don't put a record out every week either. Like, you should put a record out, give it time to breathe, do whatever level of marketing, you know, you and your team can afford or have access to. And then when you think you've maximized that position on that particular track, maybe put out another record. I think that if you put out, and actually, you know, Thomas, we're going through LaRonn with this right now with the artist that Thomas and I are talking about. The album is great, but nobody knows the kid. So the records that could be singles, you're going to miss because you put out a whole record, so nobody has anywhere to start. So I think singles give you direction, and then as you start to put out more music, get more familiar, develop a relationship with your fan base, you can start to dive deeper. But I would say go record by record, and then maybe, you know, 3 records in, compile them into a 4-song EP, then start that process over again. But I'm definitely against new artists with no fan base and no following putting out a whole project.
But Azim,
I think, go ahead.
To counter what Azim said, so like the issue that a lot of artists have, right? So their calling card record, 90% of the time it's a lie. It's not who they really are, but it's just a great record that'll work. A lot of artists that come and go, maybe one-hit wonders or whatever, the reason why they come and go is because they get locked into the character of that calling card record. It is not who they are authentically as an artist. In most cases, they're a whole nother person with a whole nother conversation. And that's why some people don't, you know, they don't introduce themselves with just a single. They try to introduce themselves as a body of work so they won't get imprisoned into the character of the lie.
But if you want to talk about authenticity, then I'll counter your counter with saying you shouldn't put out music that's not authentic to who you are.
That's where I was going.
Listen, I'm a case study in GT. You know, I quit my group because they were going left and I was going right. I was New York, poor righteous teacher, naughty by nature, Run DMC, and they were going West Coast, NWA, Dr. Dre, and that's like, that doesn't fit who I am. I can't live up to that. Now I can spit with anybody. That wasn't the issue. But when it, to your point about being authentic, I don't feel good on those stages talking about life ain't nothing but bees and money. That's not who I am. You know what I'm saying? I like to hear it. I like hip hop. I like all kinds of hip hop. But in terms of my character on the microphone, that's not who I am. So I think that you shouldn't put out music that's not representative of who you are. I don't care who you are.
Let me throw this out there, and I know, Azim, you're making, you're sharing your personal experience. You quit the group because, y'all were at a crossroads. And if you're comfortable, we always keep it honest and authentic here. If you're comfortable, is there an example of an artist that you may know of, maybe even worked with, who sort of came out with one sound, but it wasn't who they are, and were having a very difficult time being able to bring their authentic self through their music because the audience expected this one thing, but it really wasn't what they were about, and it presented some challenges?
I wouldn't put any artists on Front Street.
Okay.
I would say that if anybody has a favorite artist, or you've listened to enough music like the four of us have, you can tell records that are album to album that don't share continuity, because again, your first album and your second album don't have to sound exactly the same, but there should be some threads of you that bleed through, and you should be allowed to grow to that second project. But authenticity speaks to that thread of continuity that we can always hear. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's Terri. No matter what degree you've grown to, even in some cases digressed and went back to, but we always know it's you.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that. I do think once the artist gets to a certain level of success, then we find that some risks are taken and can be taken and can work out just fine. I mean, every artist has an itch to scratch creatively at some point, but I think it's coming out as your authentic self in that time. I'm going to use Mary J. Blige as an example, right? So now Mary's always Mary. I won't take nothing from it, right? But Mary came out, she was raw. She was so authentically Mary. Her experience, her whole vibe was just really there. And so oftentimes with Mary, we long for that time with music from her because of just how just authentic it was. And sometimes when music comes out, people want to say, well, oh man, it's like the old Mary, and there's something that people are craving from her as an artist that was established early on in her career. You could say the same thing about Luther. This was a running joke, not even a funny joke, but there was two kinds of Luther. There was Luther when he was Mr. Slim Luther, and there was Luther when he was a little more voluptuous Luther. And people like, man, I miss that, Miss Luther, because the music might have pivoted a little bit during that time. So
I would the only caveat to that is that's the consumer locking an artist into a space and not being able to grow. I had the pleasure, working with Mary for several years in the middle of her career, and then here lately. And she never changed. She just grew musically. And what it is that, and especially when you talk about the first two albums literally being classic 100 albums of, of the 200, of the 1900s, like those records were so career defining. And even you go with Luther, right? Those records are so career defining, and it took you to such an emotional place that you want to live there. And the artist, for their own growth and for their own livelihood, has to grow past that pace, because we also know, especially in hip hop, GT, please chime in here, that the rapper that keeps making the same record over and over again, you're like, dude, can you say something else? So it can work either way, depending on, I think, the fans' experience and their engagement with that particular artist.
So anybody for this, GT, LaRonn, Azim, how does an artist get past their signature album? How do you grow past your signature album?
You got to live life. You have to get new experiences, because that first body of work, you had your whole life to, take all those experiences and put it in a time capsule, like a Reasonable Doubt. Jay-Z had 26 years of life to put into that album. So, sometimes you got to do what Kendrick Lamar does, or J. Cole does, or even Roddy Ricch. And you say, you know what? This has been great. Let me step away from this and go live some more and I can come back and talk about some new experiences. That's really the only way not to create monotonous material. Because if you jump on a hamster wheel, right? You lived up to the point, you become successful, but if you never step back, you're going to be talking about the same thing because there's no new experiences to expound upon.
GT, I knew you had something you were gonna on the tip of your tongue. GT, what you got?
I totally agree with what he just said, and I was gonna bring up Jay-Z. Like, Jay-Z cannot rap about, you know, hustling no more. At least not in the sense of when he first came out. Not that type of hustling. His hustle now is, you know, making $1 million deals and whatnot. So it's a whole different perspective and a whole different level of growth in the music. So it's like, I agree with what LaRonn just said. Walk away for a while, you know, like Kendrick's and whatnot, and live life. Now you have new life experiences to rap about, you know, and it comes across in the music.
Yeah, your consumers will grow with you if you give them an opportunity. The content just has to be stellar. Good product is gonna sell itself, and if you've created a real relationship with your consumers, if what you're talking about connects and it's relatable and it's good, they're going to support you.
All right. Well, I'm going to say that's the mic drop moment of the show then. Authenticity is key. So listen, I just want to, thank everybody for tapping in today. You've been watching the Leaderboard, Who Got Next, powered by Remy Martin as we team up for excellence. This is our platform for independent artists to be able to get feedback, not only from the panel here, as we do a few times a month, just weigh in on some of the top tracks that are on the leaderboard, but also from people who just love music, the fans. And to me, there's no better feedback than the feedback that you can get directly from the fans. So as an artist, if you're interested in participating, just go to theboxhouston.com, click on Who Got Next for all the deets. And for people who just love music and you want to get down and become a curator, it's easy to do that as well. Same place, theboxhouston.com, click Who Got Next. So for the month of March, we have a $2,500 incentive for the artist that gets voted top of the leaderboard. If you're an artist in the Houston area, you'll have a chance to win that, as well as an opportunity to get some one-on-one time with music executive and get some of your questions answered about the business and how you can grow. And then for the top curator of the month of March, not only will you win some cash, you'll also have a chance to be one of our guests on the panel here for the leaderboard. So I really want to say thank you to our panel. You guys are amazing. GT Mayne, we got Azim, Rashid, and also LaRonn Harris. And thank you again to our sponsor, Remy Martin. We love the team up for excellence, and we'll catch everybody on the flip side. Thanks for checking out the Leaderboard here with Who Got Next.